I just spent 18 days on the Costa Diadema. In today's video, I'm going to talk about my experience and give my opinion on Costa cruises. Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new video. My name is Ben, and if this is the first video of mine that you are seeing, I like to travel and I like to go on cruises. This was my first experience on Costa cruises, and in today's video I'm going to talk about the positives and negatives of my 18-day cruise. Yes, 18 days is a very long time, so I feel like my opinion is pretty valid because I got the full experience. So let's get straight into it because I do have a lot to say. Today's video is mostly going to be about Costa Cruises and the Costa Diadema. I'm not really going to talk about the itinerary just because I filmed the video every single day in every single port. So go back and watch those videos if you want to. But these are the itineraries that I just completed. I did a 10-day cruise, then I got off for 1 day, then I got back on the same ship for another 8 days. We went to 8 different countries and it was an amazing itinerary. No complaints about the ports at all. So before I start, I do want to say that there's some people out there that think just because I make videos, I get treated like a VIP, I get treated differently from everybody else, and I get free stuff. I got absolutely nothing for free. I didn't get treated like a VIP, and I didn't expect to. I paid for my cruise just like everybody else. But people think because I make videos, I'm not entitled to my opinion. I can't say anything negative, but I'm a real person. I paid for my cruise just like everybody else, and I'm entitled to my opinion just like everybody else. So my cruise was 18 days and I paid $1,000 US, which works out at $55 per day. I did not have any extras, no drinks package, no Wi-Fi, no excursions, no specialty dining, nothing. So $1,000 was for everything that I experienced. But like I said, all I'm doing is just giving my opinion. If you agree with me, then great. If you don't agree with me, then great. You can make your own video, you can have your own opinion, but I'm just talking about what I experienced and I'm just giving my opinion. That's all it is. So let's get straight into it. The positives first. I think that the ship is absolutely beautiful. Costa Diadema is a very big ship. The ship was not full at all. I think it was between half full and 3/4. It was nowhere near full, but the ship is absolutely amazing. No complaints about the ships. I love walking around. The lounges are beautiful. The atrium is beautiful. The theater. The ship is very nice. The next positive is the live music. There is so much live music, but the quality is very high. You can go to the atrium. The rock club was my favorite. There's a piano bar. There was literally 4, 5, 6 options for live music every single evening. Huge positive because whatever kind of music you want to listen to, it's there. So very good live music. Let's talk about the shows. I do think the shows were positives. Some of them weren't that good just because it's cruise line. Like, what do you expect? You don't expect all of them to be good. But I saw Pavarotti, I saw the Beatles, the production shows. They had some comedians. It was very good overall. Like I said, sometimes not that good, but it's a cruise ship. But overall, I think the entertainment was very good. The next positive is the food. I think the food quality on the Costa Diadema was very high. Every single day, I did breakfast and lunch in the buffet. And then every evening, I went to the main dining room for dinner. I think that the food quality is good, and a lot of people online don't agree with me because I've read a lot of reviews and they say the Costa food is not that good. I don't agree. I was very happy with the quality of the food, even in the buffet. I know a lot of people avoid the buffet, and that's great. You do whatever you want, but I was very happy to go to the buffet. I think the breakfast was really good. The coffee was very good. You guys know that the dessert was very good, so I had no complaints. And the portion sizes in the main dining room, absolutely massive. Like, the food is so good, but you get so much as well, so I had no complaints about the food. The next positive is the Costa app is very good. It's so easy to use. Sometimes these cruise line apps, they're difficult to use, they're not reliable, but the Costa app is very good. You can check the daily schedule, you can check your account very easily, and they have a chat feature that's completely free, so you can communicate with your friends and family while you're on the ship. Most of the other cruise lines, they force you to pay for Wi-Fi so you can communicate with people on the ship, but it's included. It's inside the Costa app and it's completely free. This is a huge positive. The next positive is the casino is smoke free. I don't like to play the casino, but I like to go there and I watch people play in the evening. If I have a spare 15 or 20 minutes, then I usually go to the casino. But On some cruise ships, I can't even stand at a casino for 5 minutes because people are smoking everywhere. It's disgusting. But people are not smoking in the Costa Diadema casino, which is a huge positive. The next positive is disembarking is very easy and convenient. In my previous experience, you have to have your suitcase outside of your cabin the night before disembarking at like 10 p.m., maybe 11 p.m. But Costa, it's 1 a.m., which is so convenient because you can go back to the cabin, you can put your evening clothes inside the suitcase, and it's so much easier the next day. Also, the buffet stayed open until 10 a.m. the morning of disembarking. This is so helpful because usually, like the cruise, I just want to get you off, which is completely understandable because there's thousands of people waiting to get on. But on some of my previous cruises, like the buffet will close at 8 a.m. just to get people breakfast and then get out. But it was open until 10, which is so good. So you don't have to wake up super duper early. You don't have to rush to the buffet. You can take it easy. I think I went to the buffet at 10 and then I disembarked at 12. So I guess it kind of depends what time you're disembarking, but this is a huge plus as well. All right, that's pretty much it for the positives, and there's not too many. And I was on there for 18 days. So 18 days, and that's the only positives. But I like to be honest in all of my videos. So let's talk about the negatives. So one of the biggest negatives that I noticed was the crew. I have no idea what it's like to work for Costa Cruises, but 99% of the crew are not happy. They're not friendly. They're not helpful. They're not kind. And I don't know if it's just the ship. I don't know what's going on with Costa, but I did not have a good experience with most of the crew. I used to work on cruise ships, so I understand what it's like to work every single day, 12, 14 hours a day for 5, 6, 7, 8 months. So whenever I go on a cruise, I try my best to be extra helpful, to be extra friendly, to be extra kind to the crew, because I mean, everybody should do it anyway, just because they're human beings. But I've been there. I know what it's like to work on a ship, but I usually have so many great interactions with the crew, and I didn't this time. And special mention goes to guest services. In my opinion, you should avoid guest services at all costs. Don't go there unless you absolutely have to, just because it's not a nice place. And I had to go there because I had a problem with my luggage got lost, and then my passport, and then immigration. So I went there a few times, and they are extremely unhelpful. They're extremely unfriendly. They are not nice people, and I like I said, I don't know what it's like working for Costa Cruises, but the guest services on the Costa Diadema, they are not friendly. This is like my 6th or 7th cruise that I've done and I've filmed, and I usually have a long list of crew members that I've had good interactions with, and I give them good reviews at the end of the cruise. I'll tell you at the end of this video, but I have 3. I only have 3 in 18 days, and I think that's pretty unacceptable, to be honest, just because I usually have like 10, 12, 15, but in 18 days, I only had 3 crew members that I had a good interaction with. And it's pretty bad, to be honest, because like I said, I physically go out my way to be kind to the crew, to talk to the crew, because I've been in their place. But yeah, the crew on Costa Cruise is not good. The next negative is a big one, and I absolutely stand by this. Some people have not agreed with me, but that's okay. In my opinion, this is something that I feel so strongly about. They don't want to give you paper menus in the main dining room. This is something I had a really bad experience with a few times, because on the first night I went to the dining room and the waiter told me we don't have paper menus, which I found out later that he absolutely lied to me. And then I spoke to the maitre d' and he told me that we only get given 2 paper menus for the whole restaurant. And I said, well, that's not my problem. If 50 people want a paper menu, then 50 people should get a paper menu, because we are the paying customer. Your job is to make my vacation as easy and as fun and as relaxing as possible. And this is not just about me, okay? Because when I'm sitting there, I don't want to be on my phone, okay? But the average age on this cruise was probably 60. There are so many older people and they don't have smartphones. So these people are absolutely forced. They're not encouraged, they're forced to use their smartphones, which I had a table of 8 right next to me, older people, and 2 of them had smartphones. So they're trying to scan the QR code. They don't know how to connect to Wi-Fi. They don't know how to find the menu. They was getting no help. You need to give these people paper menus. If you want to offer the app, then absolutely great. But most people, I would say 70, 80, 90%, 1, they don't know how to do it. But 2, they don't want to do it. Why do you expect 8 60-year-olds to sit there trying to fumble around with the phone? Most of them don't even have phones. They don't even know what to do. And you are giving them absolutely no help. This is completely unacceptable. So every day I told my waiter, look, I'm going to want a paper menu every single day. I don't care that I'm not older. I don't care that I have a phone. I don't want to sit in the dining room looking at my phone. So every single day I got a paper menu. And like I said, I spoke to the maitre d' at the end, and he told me that Most of the crew members don't like this, but this is down to Costa Cruises. Like I said, I don't blame the waiters. I don't blame the maitre d'. This is a Costa thing. And the maitre d' told me that most of the waiters in this restaurant, including me, including the maitre d', we don't like that we don't have paper menus because it makes it slow for you, the waiter. It makes it slow for me, the guest, because we're fumbling around. And like I said, most people don't know what to do. They don't want to do it. You are going to get a lot of bad reviews if you continue to do this because, like I said, people don't want to do this and you're forcing them to be on their phone in the dining room, and it's completely unacceptable in my opinion. Like I said, offer the app, but the default, the first option should be paper menu. I talked about this in a few of my videos, like I said, and I was thinking about myself, but I was also thinking about my parents and my grandparents. Like my grandparents have been on cruises, and I can't even imagine them fumbling around, getting no help, trying to connect to the app and the Wi-Fi. Nobody was helping these people. It's completely unacceptable. And like I said, I don't blame the waiters. I don't blame the maitre d'. This is down to Costa, and I have no idea if anybody from Costa is going to watch this video, but this is one of my biggest negatives from this cruise, just because, yes, it's about me, but I'm thinking about other people. I'm thinking about my parents, my family, and I'm thinking about the older people that I literally saw fumbling around for 30, 40 minutes. Like there was one occasion where the table next to me, they were just getting their starter as I got my dessert, just because it took them so long to try and connect to the app and trying to order and blah, blah. They was getting no help from anybody. Anyway, I've talked about that enough in my vlogs, so you can go back and watch those if you want to hear more about that, but I don't like it. The next negative is every single thing starts late. Every event, every show, everything will start late. And one of the biggest examples that I can give you is they had a karaoke finals. It was called The Voice. And the cruise director came on stage 10 minutes late, and then she spent 20 minutes explaining the game, and then she spent another 10 minutes talking to the judges. So the show started 40 minutes late, and I just left. I walked out just because it's completely unacceptable. Like 1,000 people get to the theater on time, and you can't be bothered to come to the stage on time. It's completely unacceptable. Every single quiz, everything, okay? Everything starts late. And Costa Cruises is an Italian cruise line. This is the only time I'm going to talk about the Italian way, because I spoke to some of the crew who are Italian. They said, this is the Italian way. And I have no idea what that means. Even now, I don't know what that means. Does that mean you are late for everything? Does that mean that you don't offer good customer service? I don't know what the Italian way means, but that's what I was told. But Costa is Italian, and that's what I was told, the Italian way. The next negative is related to what I just talked about, and this is a negative for me. Maybe this is a positive for you. They explain everything in like 6 or 7 different languages. So every single announcement will take like 30 minutes because they're speaking English, French, Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, German, everything. Okay, everything. It's not an exaggeration. Every single time they have a show, the cruise director will take 10 minutes explaining everything. Like I was just talking about The Voice, she spent 20 minutes explaining the rules for The Voice in 6 different languages. And then she spoke to the judges for 10 minutes in 6 different languages. It was ridiculous. I was just so bored. Like I was so excited for the show, but I was just bored. She was just speaking and speaking and speaking. It's just like, just get on with it. But every single announcement the captain makes, every announcement, every time they speak in 6 languages. And like I said, this is the negative for me because I speak English. Maybe it's a positive for you if you don't speak English. Yes, it is an Italian cruise line, but that is no excuse for speaking 6 languages. I would absolutely accept only Italian right now. If you told me we're not even going to speak English, we're not going to speak German, French, we're only going to speak Italian, I would say, great, let's go. Like, you need to get things going, but just because it's so boring. Like, everything takes so long to get started, every trivia, everything. And I don't like it. Maybe you like it, but I didn't. The next negative is another big one. And like I said, I've been told this is the Italian way. Still don't know what it means, but Costa Cruises is extremely unorganized. There is no excuse, none. No excuse to be unorganized. They can't even organize a line. When we went through immigration, we was waiting for over an hour. People are fighting and pushing and people are screaming. No one understands what's going on. The crew members are not helpful. This is not even a one-time thing. I remember when we was in Rotterdam, just getting through the terminal building was an absolute riot. It was chaos. People disembarking with their suitcase, people with just their ship card, and people trying to get back on the ship. It was ridiculous. This is your fault, Costa. There is no excuse to be disorganized. It's your responsibility. And I did 18 days, but it was actually 2 different cruises, so I embarked twice, and both of them were an absolute disaster. They had check-in numbers, but half the people didn't have them, and people are pushing and fighting. I have kids, but I want to board, I want to do this, I want to do that. It was ridiculous. So I went through the check-in process twice, and both of them, like I said, this is not a one-time thing. This is not bad luck. Both of them were absolutely ridiculous. I didn't think it could get worse than the first time, but the second time was absolutely terrible. I was waiting in the terminal building for 2 hours. They told me to get there at 12 o'clock, to board at 12 o'clock, and I boarded at 2 p.m. because of them. because they cannot organize anything. I laugh now just because it was ridiculous. I mean, I laughed at the time just because it was ridiculous, but there is no excuse to be disorganized. This was a daily thing, okay? This was an absolute guarantee that we are going to be disorganized today. It wasn't a one-time thing. The next negative is another big one, and I feel like a lot of people out there are not even going to believe that this is true, but Costa will nickel and dime you at every single possibility that they get. One of the biggest things is you will not, I repeat, you will not get complimentary water in the dining room. You won't. Yes, you can pay for bottled water, but they won't give you free water in the dining room, which I think is absolutely outrageous. This is craziness. You also won't get free ice cream. You won't get free pizza. Like a lot of the cruise lines, they literally have a stand for ice cream all day long, for pizza all day long. No, you will pay for absolutely everything. I already talked about the crew not being friendly and not being kind and not being helpful. It goes the same with the waiters. Like, they don't want to help people. They are not friendly to people. And I talked about it in the vlog, so I'm not going to keep talking about it, but it was a regular theme to have bad service. And this is a bold statement, but I think the service that I got on Costa Cruises was the worst service I've ever had. Like, not only on cruise ships, like in general. Like, I think you would get better service at an Applebee's, at a Waffle House. It was so bad just because they don't care. Like, they absolutely don't care, and they don't help people, and they're not friendly, and it's basic customer service. This is nothing to do with cruise ships. This is nothing to do with paying for money on a cruise. This is to do with basic customer service, and they don't have it. Costa needs to train their staff immediately. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about that too much just because I've said what I had to say a few times, but I do have a quote that I read from a review online from Costa Cruises, and it says, sorry, I'm looking at my computer. It says, the priority is convenience for the crew and not customer service. Absolutely true. They do everything to make it easier for themselves and not the customer, which is completely wrong, because your job, like I've already said, your job is to make my vacation as easy, as fun, as relaxing as possible. And you're forcing me to do this. You're not offering this. It's easy for you, but it's not easy and it's not convenient for me. I don't like this at all. Like I said, Costa has some of the worst customer service I've ever experienced in my life, not only on cruises. I have a few examples of this that I experienced, making it easy for the crew, but not making it easy for me, the customer, the guest. In the buffet, you have to collect your own knife and fork. It's not on the table. This makes it easier for them to refill. So many times I got my food, I went to sit at the table. I need to go back because I don't have a knife and fork. They're not on the table, they're inside the buffet. Like I said, this is to make it easier for them to refill it. Instead of going around to each table and making it easier for me, they make it easier for them. The next example of making it easy for the crew, not making it easy for the guests, is everybody has their pool towels inside their cabin. There are no pool towels on the pool deck. Let me say that again. There are no pool towels on the pool deck. So there is this sign inside everybody's cabin. You have to take the pool towels from your cabin to the pool, and then, this is the big and then you have to bring it back to your cabin so the housekeeper can switch it out. If you don't bring your towel back to your cabin from the pool deck, you will be fined. This is absolutely outrageous. But again, this is to make it easy for the crew so they don't have to have someone on the pool deck giving out towels, and they make it harder for the guests. This is absolutely wrong. This is such a bad example of customer service. If you didn't know, I went on this cruise by myself. I was solo. And for me, it wasn't that inconvenient. Yes, it's ridiculous that I have to go to my cabin, take a towel, I have to use it at the pool deck, I have to take it back to my cabin to get switched out. That's ridiculous for me. But I was thinking about like a family of 4, a family of 5. You have to take 5 pool towels from your cabin up to the pool deck. You have to bring 5 towels back to your cabin. This is ridiculous. Like I said, this is to make it easy for the crew and not easy for me, the guest. Another example, yes, I have a lot of these, is when you go to the main dining room, you seat yourself. Nobody is going to seat you. The maitre d' doesn't even look at you. Nobody cares that you're there. So I would walk in the dining room. I would find my own table. Nobody will seat you. This is such poor customer service, but this is laziness. This is just pure laziness for the crew. It makes it easy for the crew. It makes it more difficult for me, the guest. And I'll give you a perfect example of this. So on everybody's ship card, it has their main dining room where their restaurant is and their table number. So the first day of the cruise, everybody can find their restaurant, but they look at their ship card and it says table 1, 2, 3. Where is table 1, 2, 3? So people are literally walking around the restaurant looking at their card 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Waiters walking past them, the maitre d's walking past them. Nobody is asking these people, hey, can I help you? Are you looking for your table? It's so obvious these people are looking for their table. It's their first night in the dining room. Nobody cares about them. Nobody's looking at them. So they're looking around 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They finally ask a crew member, excuse me, where is 1, 2, 3? Oh, it's over there. They would just point. I witnessed this 3 or 4 different times for 3 or 4 different waiters. Completely unacceptable. Such bad customer service. They would just point, oh, it's over there. Take them there. It's going to take 10 seconds for you to walk them to the table. Here's 1, 2, 3. Enjoy your meal. Goodbye. That's all you have to do. But nobody did that. I witnessed that one time, and I'm going to give them a mention at the end of this video. But most of the time, the waiter would just say, oh, 1, 2, 3 over there. Goodbye. Nobody cares. Another example is they don't have bar service sitting around the pool. And I remember when I was on Norwegian, they would have people waiters constantly walking around the pool. Would you like a drink? Would you like a drink? You don't have to get up. Like I said, I'm on vacation. Your job is to make it as easy as possible for me, but you have to go to the bar. And I know this might not seem like a huge deal, but like I said, this is to make it easy for the crew and make it easy for the cruiser. And they don't have waiters at the pool deck. When you want to drink, you have to go to the bar. And it's not that far away, it's on the pool deck, but still. And the last example is what I already talked about. Not giving menus to people and expecting them to scan a QR code makes it easy for you, the crew. It makes it more difficult for me. And in turn, it's a bad customer service just because it should be easy for me, but in turn, it's easy for you. That's not what customer service is about. So yes, I did pay $1,000 for 18 days on this cruise ship, which some people pay $1,000 for 3 or 4 days on a cruise ship. So I understand this is a budget cruise, okay? Let me tell you again, I did not expect the Hilton Hotel. I didn't expect 5-star treatment, but I paid money, okay? Every single person paid money, and I don't want to hear you get what you pay for. This is a super, super bad example of this because you're giving them an excuse to give you bad customer service. It was a cheap cruise, so I don't expect to be walked to my table in the dining room. I don't expect to get a paper menu. I don't expect to be smiled at. This is such a bad excuse. You get what you paid for. Yes, it was a cheap cruise. Like I said, I didn't expect the world, but I expected to be treated well as a paying customer. And I don't believe that they treat people well. I don't believe that they care about people, because if they did, they would train their staff. I did say it in a few of my videos, but I have no idea what would happen if that ship was full. Like I said, my estimation, it was probably half full, 3/4 at most. The dining room was empty. You could always get a seat in the theater. The pool was never ever busy. The ship was pretty empty, probably the most empty ship that I've ever been on. I have no idea how they would handle a full ship, because they can't even handle a half full ship. It was ridiculous, to be honest. So all of that bad customer service, all of that disorganization, that was with a half full, 3/4 full ship. Imagine if there was another 1,000 people. So the highlights of my cruise, definitely the entertainment. I love the rock club. Igor was singing in there every single night. We had the Red Angels band from Argentina. They were really, really good. I spent so many hours in the rock club. I like the shows. I did like the shows. The production cast, absolutely amazing. I have to mention them again. I was on there for 18 days. I only saw them twice, and it's not acceptable. They need to do more shows, but the production cast, extremely good. Pavarotti was probably my favorite show. If you watch that vlog, I was so surprised that I like opera. Never ever seen an opera show in my life. My first experience watching opera, and it was amazing. I loved it. Like, we watched the Beatles. I've seen so many Beatles tribute bands, but that was a really good show too. But yeah, that was the highlights. And the highlight port was definitely Flam. Highly, highly recommend, if you ever get the opportunity to cruise to Norway, then do it. Some of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. Let me give some honorable mentions to some crew members, because like I said, I go out of my way to talk to the crew, because I understand that they're working very hard and I've been there. So I want to mention Felix and Kim. They work in the buffet, so friendly. I spoke to them pretty much every single morning, because Kim was in charge of the coffee. She makes very, very good coffee. And Felix from Indonesia, he was always friendly to me. And yeah, I really had good interactions with those two. I've already talked about the crew members in the dining room, just pointing your tables over there. I only saw one crew member walk, an older lady, like she was arm in arm with an older lady, walking her to the other side of the restaurant to her table. Her name is Mada, M-A-D-A. Super, super impressed with her. It's amazing that that kind of stuff stands out just because nobody else was doing it. So she gets a big thumbs up for me for helping an older lady to her table. Imagine that. Good customer service, Mada. And probably my favorite crew member, Pamela. She is the aerobics instructor. I saw her every single morning on the pool deck doing her aerobics class, doing her fitness class. The happiest crew member on the ship. She's Chinese and Brazilian, so I was speaking Chinese to her every single day. She's so friendly, she's so smiley. Everybody loved her classes. I saw her every single morning, like I said. So yeah, well done, Pamela. And I do have to mention the animation team. Those are the guys that run the trivias, they run the parties, they do pretty much all of the events. All of them were really good. Like, I do have to say that. They're always enthusiastic. They're always friendly to people. So the animation team gets a big thumbs up as well. So the biggest question you're all dying to know is, would I ever go on Costa Cruises again? You might be surprised, but I'm going to say yes. But of course, there are some conditions. One of the conditions is there is no way I would spend a lot of money on Costa Cruises. Absolutely not. Yes, this cruise was a cheap cruise. It was a budget cruise. I would not want to spend more than what I spent. If I spent a lot of money for this cruise, I would be extremely disappointed. I would not be happy, and it definitely softened the blow that I didn't spend that much money. I highly recommend you not spend a lot of money with Costa Cruises, but if an itinerary popped up that I really wanted to do and it was cheap, but it was Costa Cruises, I would do it just because I know what to expect now, and I would not spend a lot of money with Costa, to be honest, no way. And the second condition is, if you watched a lot of my videos, you know that I'm an extremely patient person. It takes a lot for me to get mad, it takes a lot for me to get frustrated, and believe me, Costa Cruises got me frustrated, but I act extremely differently when I'm by myself and if I'm with my family. There is no way I would take my family on Costa Cruises. Absolutely not. I would not take my parents on Costa Cruises. I won't take my grandparents on Costa Cruises. If I had a wife and kids, I would not take them on Costa Cruises. And the reason is I will not sit there and watch my family be disrespected. I will not sit there and watch my family get bad service. If I'm sitting in the dining room with my parents or grandparents and it's taking in 30 minutes just to get a menu and an hour and a half to get their food, I will not be happy about this. I'm happy to wait when I'm by myself just because it doesn't affect anybody else and nobody cares about me. But if I'm with my family, there's no way I would just sit there. Absolutely not. If I'm standing in the line and people are fighting and pushing and screaming and I'm standing there with my kids, there is no way that I would just stay silent and just see what happens. No way. I would not take it, and I repeat, I would not take my family, my parents, my grandparents. If I had a wife and kids, I would not go on Costa Cruises. Like I said, my cruise was split into two and the second half went to Norway. And I got a few messages to say, oh, Ben, do you regret doing the second half? Absolutely not. I got to go back to Norway, which is the best cruise itinerary in the world. I got to do it in a cheap way. I still ate all the food. I still went to the shows. I still enjoyed the ship. So I don't regret doing this cruise at all. I got a great price for an 18-day cruise, because now I know what Costa Cruises is like. It was definitely an interesting experience. Like I said, you absolutely cannot argue with the price. $1,000 for 18 days is a great deal, but I'm not in a hurry to go back on Costa. I would, only with the conditions that I just talked about, but that was my experience on the Costa Diadema. I do want to say again what I said at the beginning of this video. Just because I make videos does not mean I'm not a real person. I paid for my cruise with my own money, just like everybody else. I'm entitled to my opinion just like everybody else. Just because I make videos does not change anything. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know your comments down below. Have you ever been on Costa? Would you ever go on Costa? I hope that you appreciate my honesty. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I will see you very, very soon. Goodbye.